Come on, baby. You can do it. But this one's deep down, and I can't get that down to the bolt. So we'll stick this on the long side. We'll just take that same 5/16 on an extension, and then we'll use it as a lever for leverage, and then that helps you pop those off if they're too tight if you're using basic. Okay, so this is what we got going on today. I've got a concrete job coming up. I'm getting all the tools put together and organized, and this is my Vibrascreed. So it's a big gas-powered vibrating screed. Went to test, fired it up. It was out of gas, or it was completely empty, and then I'm pumping the primer bulb. You see this, I don't know if you ever used these before, but you see this little plastic thing? I go to pump it, and then it starts dripping gasoline, and it won't start and run. So I've never changed this one before on this one. This is a Honda GX35 4-stroke engine. I'm going to show you how to change this at home, basic tools, and probably save you $100. So if you take it to the shop, you'll probably pay $150 to have somebody do this. This is actually my expertise. It's not horses, it's not wagon repairs, it's not farming. All that I do for fun. This is what I did for a living. This is actually how I retired at 40. I was a mechanic and a shop owner. So we've got here, I ordered these on Amazon. These were for my weed whacker. I've got a Honda 4-stroke weed whacker. I think it's the same. It looks like the same size bulb. Looks like the same size bulb. So they come in a package of 10. We'll order these on Amazon. And so this is what we got. This is what we're gonna see if these fit. So it's just a little piece of rubber, but they always get rotten. The ethanol and the gasoline that we use will dry them out and they'll crack. And then you go to pump them and prime them, and then they won't run. So I've got this pack from the weed whacker. We're gonna go ahead and try to see if it'll fit. So we'll get this taken apart. So all I've got is just your basic Harbor Freight Chinese tool set here. We're just gonna do it outside. I got a makeshift table outside. I don't like to do gasoline and stuff in the garage because it starts smelling, and we try to keep it somewhat clean. So first things first is we want to take off the air cleaner. So there's a couple little tabs here. You squeeze them in. You're gonna lift that up, and then it comes out of the way. So air cover's off. This is what it looks like underneath. You got your air filter. There's 2 bolts here. We're gonna try to do this without taking the least amount of stuff possible apart. It's kind of how when you start working with old equipment, the less you can take apart, the better. You start taking too many things apart, and then everything's broken. What these are is an 8mm nut. They're on 2 studs, and so we've got an 8mm. We've got an 8mm ratchet going on here, And so we're going to take both of these nuts off. If you don't have an 8mm, if you don't have any metrics, a standard size, the same as an 8mm, is a 5/16. So we're going to go ahead and pop those. We've got power tools and electric impacts and things like that, but in this case, since these are really small bolts, we're not going to use any power tools. We're going to do this by hand. Then you could also do this in your garage. So what I've got is, I got the air cleaner cover. It's got a little tray in there. We'll just put all the fasteners and things in there so you don't lose anything. So take both of those off. And then we've got 2 Allen head bolts down here. So we're going to take both of those. That holds the rest of this plastic on it, looks like. So we're going to come over here. Again, we got our Harbor Freight. Not sponsored by Harbor Freight, but this is what I've got here, easy to use. So it looks like about a 6mm. So we're going to pick through this, and it might be a 4 until we find the correct one here. Come on, baby. You can do it. Okay, third one's a charm. We'll go ahead and get these out of the way. On those sets, gray is metric, red is standard. That's how you can tell. So we'll go ahead and pop these 2 off. So what the bolt looks like is a little Allen wrench. And then I'll show you a little trick here. See how tight that one was? And I'm just using an Allen wrench. If at the shop we would use a socket or an extended socket or something. But this one's deep down, and I can't get that down to the bolt. So we'll stick this on the long side. We'll just take that same 5/16 on an extension, and then we'll use it as a lever for leverage, and then that helps you pop those off if they're too tight if you're using basic hand tools. Here at the house, I don't have a lot of fancy tools. Fancy tools are for the shop. We just do basic repairs at the house. We don't do anything serious. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully work this loose. And now we've got the bottom half of the air cleaner. This has got the choke built into it. This is the choke right there. That lever right there covers up the intake hole. So we're going to take that. There's a little O-ring right there. We don't want to lose that, so maybe we'll take that off. That's the seal for the air cleaner, between the carburetor and the air cleaner. And then we'll just slide the carburetor up. I'm going to leave the hoses hooked up. Like I said, when this stuff gets old and brittle, the least you can take off, the better. So we're going to go ahead and leave the throttle cable hooked up. We're going to leave this is the entire carburetor assembly. We're going to leave everything hooked up. We're just going to lay it to the side where we can get to these Phillips head screws right here. So we need a Phillips. It looks like just a standard. It's just a standard number 2. This is a number 2 Phillips. And we're just going to pop these screws off. They're not going to be terribly tight. That's what they look like. There's 4 of them. So go ahead and remove the 4 screws. There are some gaskets under here, and we're trying not to separate it. If those gaskets tear, we're going to need more parts. We're going to have more downtime, and I got a concrete truck coming tomorrow. So we've got to get this thing up and running. And when we're done, we'll test fire it, make sure it runs. I'll show you how it goes on the screed and how it operates. And then you'll see it in action in a few days when I when I put the video up of us finishing the wash bay for the horses. Okay, so we got the 4 screws. 4 screws are off. But this is the primer bulb is what this is called. So this has got this little metal tray. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to squeeze it and press it out. That's the old one. And then we're going to take the new primer bulb and you're just going to set it in there. Then we're going to go right back on. Make sure everything is intact. And then this is only going to go on one way. There's a notch here. There's a notch there. So line those notches up. It will only go on the one way. And then we're going to go ahead and put our screws back in. We're going to get these opposites started so we don't while I'm holding it. So we're just going to lightly push these just to get the threads lined up. And then we're going to get the opposite side. That will help keep everything tight because everything's stacked in layers on these. So you got the base of the carburetor, you got the, I don't know what this is going to be called. It's probably going to be like a secondary block, and then you got the primer bulb block. I'm not sure the technical terms on these. I don't work on a lot of small equipment. And modern vehicles don't use carburetors, so we don't see a lot of carburetors. Put the other 2 screws in. And then these are going to be snug. You got to be careful not to strip out these screws. They're not the greatest quality screws, so they will strip out. You want to put a decent amount of torque, but not to where the screwdriver is slipping on the screw. Okay. Now that's on. What we're going to do is we're going to just check everything out. We've got this gasket down here. We've got make sure everything looks like it's intact. You could go ahead and wipe it and clean it. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and set that back down. And then what we're going to do, since we didn't take off the hoses or anything, everything's still sealed. While this is apart, we're going to go ahead and check our fix here. Okay, so we've got this on. So now what we're going to do, we're going to test it. So we're going to go ahead and pump. And what this does is it'll suck gasoline out of the tank. We might have to turn this sideways. It sucks gasoline out of the tank and pumps all the air out. So you just pump it until it's good to go. Doesn't look like we got any leaks. So we'll go ahead and put this back together now. And then we'll test fire. Okay, so everything in reverse order. We took this rubber O-ring off earlier. We're going to place it back on. That seals the bottom of this bracket here, the bottom half of the air cleaner bracket. Press that on there. We're going to loosely put the 2 nuts on. We're not gonna tighten them yet, but we're going to just set those there. The reason you set those there first is because you got these bolts. They got to go in here. So one is shorter than the other one. The short one goes up here on the top. And then this recessed one down here is the longer one. We'll put it on there. and then we'll just kind of fill around until you get it loosely. And we're just gonna put these in by your finger now. The reason we didn't tighten these down first is because if it's off a little bit, you won't be able to line those holes up. So, but now we can go ahead and snug these down first. These are the important ones to get tightened because this will seal against the engine. Seals the carburetor to the engine. So this is what needs to, if you were to tighten these first, you may have an air leak and it may not run properly. So we're going to go ahead and just snug those down. They are small bolts, so you don't want to over tighten them. So they're just kind of snug. And then we'll go back and we'll tighten these 2 Allen wrenches. Tighten this one. And then we'll put the air cover back on. And it hooks on down to the bottom. There's a couple of hooks, so they got it. The bottom's got to go on first. And then this is the squeeze tab. This is what released it in the beginning. And you'll just push those down until they snap. You can kind of hear it and feel it snap. So, and then we'll go ahead and test fire this thing up, and we'll put it onto the screed and we'll show you how it works. Okay, so we got this on the all hooked up here. Do you want to show how this is? This is what this is. This is a Vibrascreed. So it vibrates this long aluminum flat thing, and you run it across the top of the concrete. Makes everything flat, settles, pushes down the rocks. Just makes a better, flatter job and easier with less people. So there's no more of that. Gotta have a 2x4 and one guy on each end. So we'll just show you how this thing works and make sure that it's going to be ready for tomorrow for concrete. So just make sure the switch is on, and we'll just start her up. Oh my heck, it works. What a miracle. We got the throttle cable. So it's got a kickstand here. We'll put the kickstand up. We'll throttle it up. And then you just pull back on the concrete when you're doing the concrete. And you can see how that's just leveling everything off. So it looks like we got her done. She's ready to roll. And watch the video of us using this thing in action, and we'll get this flat work done.